Would you believe it if the most powerful king on earth had to beg for his life from the weakest creature? Today, we're tearing down the simple fable you think you know and replacing it with a breathtaking struggle for survival. Stay with me until the end, because I've prepared 3 mind-bending questions that will test your values, and I want to see your answers in the comments below. Let's dive into the moment the king of the jungle falls. The African sun beat down mercilessly at high noon. The lion, the undisputed sovereign of the wild, was lost in a heavy sleep after a successful hunt. Suddenly, a young mouse, scouring for food in the grass, took a wrong turn. Panic-stricken and running with her eyes closed, she felt something beneath her paws, not the soft earth, but the coarse, hot bridge of the lion's nose. The lion's eyes snapped open. His golden pupils burned with murderous intent. What fearless fool dares to defile my rest? The lion's massive paw cut through the air, pinning the mouse to the ground in a single, bone-crushing instant. Please, please spare me, mighty king." The mouse's voice trembled with terror. The lion let out a dark, predatory chuckle. "A tiny speck like you isn't even a snack, but the penalty for stepping on a king is death." Then the mouse cried out, "If you let me live, I promise I will save your life one day." Is a dead mouse more valuable to a king than a living debtor? The lion roared, not with anger, but with laughter. The entire forest seemed to shake. "You? Save me? Ha ha ha! That ridiculous courage of yours is payment enough for waking me. Begone!" He lifted his paw, and the mouse vanished like a shadow. Weeks later, the silence of the forest was replaced by a sinister metallic rasp and heavy breathing. Skilled hunters had set a massive rope trap. As the lion patrolled his territory, he walked straight into the snare. He unsheathed his claws to shred the ropes, but the more he struggled, the tighter the knots dug into his flesh. The lion's roar was no longer a sign of majesty. It was a scream of pure agony. Is there no one to help me? But the other animals, who had always feared him, only watched from the shadows in silence. The king's authority crumbled inside that net. Just as the lion closed his eyes in despair, he heard a tiny patter of feet. "Mighty king, I have come to keep my promise." The lion looked up to see the small mouse from that day. He let out a hollow laugh. "Look at these thick ropes. What could you possibly do?" Without a word, the mouse climbed the net. She began to gnaw at the master knot with her tiny, razor-sharp teeth. Circ, circ, circ. The persistent sound echoed through the quiet forest. Finally, with a loud snap, the rope gave way, and the lion crashed to the ground. The 600 kilograms beast and the 10G mouse stood eye to eye. The lion bowed his head. "Little friend, I was wrong. Greatness is not measured by size, but by the heart." How did today's story move you? Now it's time to share your thoughts. Please leave a comment answering these questions. First question: the lion mocked the mouse's ability, but in the end, that small ability saved his life. In your own life, what is something small you once dismissed, but later found to be your greatest help? Second question: what if the hunters had appeared while the mouse was still gnawing the ropes? Would she have stayed to finish the job, or run to save her own life? What would you have done in her position? Last question: after being saved, if the mouse demanded, "Since I saved your life, I am now the king of the jungle," how should the lion respond to prove he is a true king? I'm waiting for your brilliant and insightful answers in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next story.